on the back of one player, but we're going into our fourth game of the day, Erangel.
I mean, you look at some of these teams down towards the bottom, and Team Case or Mad Bulls both in very similar spots. Both these teams, I would say, need around about a 15-point average on the last 3 matches to see them very safe in towards that survival stage. Even so, you're still relying on Nigma Galaxy, the Infinity, to continue having the same performances we're seeing from before, which is a 1 to 2 point game apiece. And that's really the only thing that is keeping the fires burning for Team Queso and Mad Bulls. Box Game, on the other hand, happy days. Now it looks like they have a really good chance to continue putting coal into the fire and pumping up those points, getting up towards the top side into those survival stage brackets.
And Calcifer wants to eat hearty on this one. It's really going to need a lot of fuel to get there. Hopefully burn it down out. South Plane past Lipovka down to Quarry. Not really too dramatic for anyone at this stage. It allows for pretty much every drop spot in the game. No one really going to be cut out of it too badly. The question is, are we going to see a hot drop? Are we going to see something that we haven't seen before? Infinity, they're going to be chilling over in Milton Power. Buradam in Lipovka, splitting out to Mansion on the east coast. Yasnaya, hang on a minute, Influence Chem and Bigotron there as well. On the east side, this should be pretty chill there. Not going to conflict just yet.
Yeah, a BTR, Influence Chemin, dropping in this same spot throughout the entirety of the tournament so far, sharing this one out. 4 rivals up towards Rozhok. But this time around, at least Team Queso might be able to get themselves a decent match. Considering most of these circles have been over towards that western side, John, Team Queso have had a long way to run to get into some of these circles. This time around, they get a nice start to the game just to the western side of Farm. This is going to make their lives a little bit easier. And with the performance we've seen from them on our angles so far, you know, this could be a real chance for them, an opportunity. Again, though, for these bottom teams, I keep saying there is opportunities available to them, and they keep turning their noses up at them as well. So I do worry slightly, though I have a little bit more faith in Team Queso. I think a lot of times when they've been getting to the circles, they've been taking difficult fights, which is maybe not so much their fault and more because of the rotational paths they're heading into, and then 2 teams pinching them at the same time. I think that is just something you have to deal with. And for Team Queso, they've been caught on the wrong end of it far too many times. Mad Bulls go back to the tried and tested down towards Primorsk on a large split this time around, purely because they know there aren't going to be a lot of teams coming their way. Though a lot of their wins over in the championships and Western Europe came from this type of crossing from Primorsk over towards the eastern side of the map, that they will have to push through Box Gaming, who currently have really got their eyes out for Mad Bulls. And after that last game, I would be a little bit scared of them, maybe. Although that fight started off very, very well for Mad Bulls. First time in a long time we've seen a fight start off with a Mad Bulls knock first and not one going back their way.
Southeast circle on the shift. So Mad Bulls will have to leave there. Titan playing on the south coast around that bridge exit on the east side. And Silas for S2G, the closest by on farm. Hamzy, you can see him just ping up there. Will be fairly close by as well for S2G on their split, but not really going for the engagement just yet. Look at that. Buradam 65, Influence Chemin 64. Very, very tight for the top spot on Erangel here. And at the moment, you can see on the overalls, 267 for Influence Chemin, 256 for Buradam. It's really still all down to the wire and all to play for. However, at this stage, I think it's pretty unlikely that either of these 2 teams doesn't direct qualify, which they've got to feel pretty good about.
Yeah, they are 100% safe now, John. Influence Chemin and Buradam now both playing for pride and money, grabbing that 5k extra should they ladder up from second to first or drop from first to second. But their grand final qualification spots are secured now. I think this is one of the first times I've seen a lot of PMPLs actually throughout the year. A lot of different regions playing off in their championships as well. I think it's funnily enough that it is PMGC where we see the biggest drop-off between second and third place, with so many different teams battling out against one another. And again, there's a big drop-off between 4th to 5th place. So I would say at this point in time, there is only 4 teams in contention for that 3rd place and Grand Finals qualification spots, and that's LGD and S2G really battling out for that one. 2 points apiece between them, really down to the wire all the way to the end of the day here, John. And at the bottom of the leaderboard, Box Gaming looking to secure their position towards the survival stage. And right now, it is just the Infinity and Enigma Galaxy are consistently falling down just a little bit. And right now, honestly, they should be full panic mode, you know, all alert on the battleship, because they need to start getting some consistent points on these games. And with 3 matches remaining, if you get 10 points per match, it's going to be very hard for any team beneath you to start profiting on top of that with so little games remaining.
Time is drawing short. There are a couple more teams starting to look safe. I think we're up to 3 now that are looking pretty solid and secure to just not really have too much to move around with. Aegon I8, 4 Rivals, and Titan. We'll be seeing them in the survival stages. Bigatron and DRS still have a hope of moving up, but it would be, as you say, very, very difficult to be able to achieve that. Enigma Galaxy, currently our bubble team. Not what we thought we'd be saying after their first day's performance, but right now they are heading on towards the east, coming in from the Gatka Fields, getting past Pachinki, trying to swing around near Potato Hill. Looks like they're going to head continually out to that eastern side. With the circle as it is, though, it's not a lot of terrain, and it kind of accelerates this gameplay.
It does, yeah. We have quite a bit of the circle actually out towards the blue team Queso, taking heavy punishment over on that side of the map. 2 players now down, out in the open as well, and with not a lot of position to hide behind. You really are relying on these tiny little hills, tiny little shapes on the ground to stop yourself from being shot at. The rest of the team dropping in those smokes. Reyes trying to get across. Screams cannot step out for a second, but it looks like they might just be able to get these 2 players back and running. But Hamzy G, Ray Z, they don't want to let these 2 knocks go to waste. They're just sending in.
They're getting straight on into the thick of it, actually cutting off the backup here. They've moved Ayala away from this with Hamzy's position, and Hamzy can now take a forward spot whilst the rest of S2G suppresses Ayala from jumping out of these windows. Hamzy will be spotted by Papi Potro, certainly around the side. Hang on a minute, Kelsey's here. He goes for the rundown and is able to get it. Fades away through the smoke that Team Queso thought would keep them safe, but now there's no answer towards it, and he wants a little bit more as well. Papi Potro soon to fall, and Ayala's the last for Team Queso. S2G going to crash on in and not waste the time. Kelsey, knocked, has a little bit of cover out in the open. Can the flush come through for Ayala, or is he going to turn his attention to the challenge from Silas? It looks like the stairs are more pressing right now. The spray down is good for another. Ayala looking to turn the tables, but it's just not enough. Hamzy is there, the warden for S2G, and locks it down. Team Queso eliminated.
All 4 players still alive for S2G, and again, yep, that is bad news for Team K. So 107 points on this match. They needed to get at least some going on this game to ensure they could get a little bit further up towards the rankings and maybe challenge out versus Box Gaming, who are very close to moving up towards into that top spot. And already Trismay finds a shot over towards S2G, but again, taking shots to quite a fearsome enemy within the lobby, and they'll return savagery with savagery. Just a little bit worried. S2G now in a position where it's open ground in front of them, and Box Gaming taking a position behind them with this backfill. Difficult times ahead now, John.
Circle is still very, very cruel. Only about 50% of it is on this mainland. It's unlikely that it heads to the military island or towards the bridge at this stage. So we're really looking, despite it being phase 2, we're really looking at a phase 4 kind of situation for these teams, for the time being anyway. But that will mean that the next couple of phases might elongate and stretch out, be a little bit more of a lull once all of this has come to a head.
The Infinity takes shots over towards the guys from Buddadam. who are looking to take shots back now. A difficult team to contest with, but going to go for it anyway. In the meantime, MTech Storm take a knock from the Mad Bulls, who have edged their way in from that western side, looking to play along the coast. Not quite definite towards either Sosnovka or the mainland. For the time being, most teams just trying to situate themselves somewhere along the coast. The Infinity also struggling versus Budaram, but it is Influence Kemen once again playing on that northern side, coming in, looking for a more central position towards the later half of the game. Another knock comes through from Zerich. One back from Nigma Galaxy, in fact.
Chicken out in the open for MTech Storm, as the Mad Bulls are fighting on the west side. Looking to move up and confirm that flush. They'll get it with the rundown. Tizzy. No answer just yet. The Mad Bulls want to get this res as well. They should be able to do it. Should have just come through. Budaram and S2G actually having a little bit of a scrap. It's just on the south coast, just to the west of the exit to the bridge. South of farm. See, they're trading across in these farm buildings.
Yeah, tried to pick up a position that S2G were holding beforehand. For Box were able to backfill. There's 4 players still alive there. Knock comes back from MTech Storm over towards the Mad Bulls. They've managed to kind of find a couple of off angles towards their position, but I think that Mad Bulls should be somewhat safe towards that coastal side. A lot of cover to play around with, but MTech Storm unwilling to give up their spot on this western side. With the next circle coming in, that kind of delay with the knock there will really make Mad Bulls suffer. And with this circle shift towards the bridge side, John, goodness me, it's going to be hard to find a good game for any of these teams. DRS, the Infinity, in good spots though.
You've got to think there's going to be at least 1 or 2 teams that are just going to head into Milta and try and just hold out there. Influence Kemen may be a prime candidate for that, but they might try and hold the roadblock just outside of it instead. Everybody else flooding across these fields. That is a bad tumble for MVM in the position he's in. I think he's just going to be able to right, but that's the vehicle going up. Too many bullets sent out that way. That's a knock, that's a flush. And LGD lose a player. S2G wants to extend this lead. 4 eliminations right now with the 2-point lead that they had on top. They are starting a little bit of a gap. And with LGD down to 3, that's even better news.
It's a 3-way engagement over towards Box Gaming's position, though. With Nigma Galaxy taking shots, BTR crashing in, RA sending barrage fire their way. Mad Bulls out in the blue, actually, though. I think they've headed down towards Sosnovka, out of sight, maybe backfilling towards I-8 or currently towards Observatory. No, not a bad play, though the circle will be ticking quite hard. I'm still sure that they can make the entire crossing. Could be quite the interesting rotation, and if it pays off, it will be one of the most controversial rotations that leads to a good game. We'll see how well they fare here, John.
Box get the flush. They continue to try and challenge Nigma Galaxy's spot in 11th. The lowest survival bracket point. Bigatron getting lit up here. R8 just spraying down onto Zuxi. There's no way he gets away with that. Liquid. Last standing now for the squad. Will not be long for, though. And that is Box picking up that final point. 3 eliminations for Box now. Only the 1 for Nigma Galaxy, and that will close it to a 3-point gap for the bubble at the bottom.
Not a lot of places to call home here, John. But Kengzo finds the K9 shot over towards side on Box, as well as Nigma Galaxy looking to get themselves a little bit more space. You know, you need to claim that territory if that means growling, roaring from your position to ensure your placement is known. That's what you need to do. And in fact, yes, I was correct. Mad Bulls have rotated all the way on the western bridge down towards the south side of the map on the edge of this circle. An interesting rotation. They will have to pass through I-8 though, and they've got to assume that there are teams still down this way.
Kengzo trying to line up another shot. Not going to be able to knock it out this time around. S2G just a little bit too small on the crosshairs. The circle really going to be crucial here, Blank. As soon as it pops, we're going to see movement. That is unkind yet again. It keeps so much of the water in, and this mouth of the bridge is such a tricky area to play around.
There's still positions to play, though, and that's the That's the main thing, John. And I think for Mad Bulls, this game is about getting a high placement as well. But first, they have to move through I8. Certainly not a pushover team currently in 7th place with 160 points available to them. They are moving up. LGD in a tough spot. See them moving back away down towards the coast. Sending, in fact, down towards the water side. Interesting stuff. And IQ has found Monkey.
Early knock and the rotation made by the Mad Bulls may be coming a cropper. They lose one player, certainly, and now they're in for the swim. It is a survival game for Mad Bulls on their chase, but with Box opening the throttle, they might not even be able to make it up to 12th.
Gilzers take some shots. Vect has to dip under, take some damage as well. Zerich might even take a little bit of damage, but again, I8 don't have to move that much further forward. That is great news for Mad Bulls, though. With I8 exposing themselves, now they have to look back over towards DRS, giving time for Mad Bulls to swim over towards the coastal side. You wonder if DRS even have an idea that the team is swimming. Might be able to get the jump on them, but after losing one player, a little bit difficult for Mad Bulls at this point in time.
DRS must know that the Aegon were shooting at something, so they might theorize there's a player out in the water. They just aren't in the position to go for a shot over towards it. LGD, S2G might be, though. On the flip side of it, the Infinity bumped out yet again, and that is actually quite big news. 10th place, Enigma Galaxy could ladder up, and that might be, again, our new bubble. 130 points. For Box to surpass, they've already managed to put 3 into that 7-point dent, so only 4 more needed to be achieved.
S2G move towards the coastal side alongside LGD, their direct competitors. 3 players alive for LGD at the moment. Look at this though, huge amounts of damage coming through on this side of the map. R8 suffering terribly. Box Gaming in a decent spot themselves, but again, there's not a lot of landmass to play here anymore, John.
It's just shrinking faster than the circles at this point. Box with 3. Move across the ridge with the smokes as cover. Enigma Galaxy trying to move in as well. With their 2 points that they managed to get this game, they are even with the Infinity right now. And anything on top of this will see them ahead. Rising a little bit further up those rankings. Mad Bulls down to 2, but they have made it most of the way across the water now.
It's such a crazy push that they made as well. All the way on the Western Bridge, down towards Sosnovka, make the swim. I think they hoped that I8 had already made the crossing. Maybe if they hadn't lose that player off the bat, it could have been much easier. Bensu down though. 1 player there, and Soaz very, very low. Will go actually knock there too.
Oh dear, and that's Box out of it. They won't have any more chance to go for the race. I mean, that's good news for the Infinity, I suppose. That's probably quite good news for Mad Bulls as well, if they can get more done here with the duo that they have on the south side. Box were really the main team that we were looking at the top of that elimination bracket, that red zone in 12th place with a chance to ladder out, but they will go no further in this game. Fortunately for them, they are still very, very close to that bubble. Going into the next 2 games, the final 2 games of Group Red, they'll be playing on with 3-point bubble difference.
Galaxy take at least 1 knock. I think for S2G, who've been sailing around on this map for a very long time, the fact that they've been able to survive with 4 is a miracle in of itself. Ralph should be picked up again. Both Zerich and Skill Scout, all these guys are. They've been taking a lot of shots. It's going to be 9 impossible for them to find themselves a position. This will really require DRS to put the pressure on their side.
Silas takes a knock, actually. S2G holding it down on the western side. Very close to LGD. Enigma Galaxy getting blinked away at now by Blade. They bloom the smoke. Getting punished for it, but they are in the circle in their current position. Just about, not really too close, but R8 and Titan on the north side, not so lucky. Will not be, and will have to push further south.
I mean, it's an insanely good spot for I8, isn't it, really? It's very hard to remove them from this position on the bridge. DRS would love to take shots towards them, but they've got players on the top side. They've got high ground advantage. At this point in time, Mad Bulls are just hoping that the attention isn't turned their way until much later in the game. Again, a top 5 would be okay to see them forward, but at this point in time, really placements is all that the Mad Bulls can look for, or at least hope a team crashes down over towards R8 as they make their move outwards. But that, again, is also highly unlikely. It's really a roll of the dice now for the Mad Bulls.
R8 and Titan clashing. R8 not going to be able to make it unless they play 2 30-point games in a row. Then maybe. But as it stands, it will be very, very difficult. I mean, we've seen some very late games coming in from them off some trickier spots, so maybe there's still a chance in hell, but very, very unlikely. Shots being loosed from the AWM. I didn't even realize they had that in the pocket, and there it goes. Lord sat down, humbled. Back to peasantry.
More shots cracking off. In the meantime, Skills is trying to make a breakaway. Gorgeous shot coming through here for Ghost. Another one down. Looks for the third to finish off Enigma Galaxy. Maybe not possible. More damage pouring through onto the teams. 11 teams still alive.
North side still really tricky. That will move Aegon I8 from the bridge position. So potentially this opens up a little bit more of the circle. Everybody else will have to move as well. Buradam, Enigma Galaxy, Influence Kemen even are going to have to shuffle a little bit further up as Titan are eliminated on the north side. R8 outlast them, who are going to have to push past the 4 rivals.
Maybe somewhat difficult. I mean, they do have a pretty tough position to play in. Again, just sending off these shots for Enigma Galaxy. This is almost over now at this point in time. I mean, the circle is going to do the damage, and Ghost just has to sit here with the scope on, wait for anyone to pop out too early. See Zerich here, try to get out for a little bit, but UZM's been watching this position the entirety of the time. So difficult for him to even get away. And the circle will push him in. Again, so much sniper play in the lobby.
I think it's an artifact of the larger circles towards the late game blank. They can afford to have that in the pocket, not as close range dependent in the late game. It's really nice to see that sort of adaptation being made. DRS being punished. Enigma Galaxy still struggling to shuffle their way down the coastline towards S2G. And Buradam, they are out on the top and probably have one of the better routes of approach, but Influence Kemen, their ridge lines, their sight lines down towards them, so powerful.
They have that coastal side all locked down. Enigma Galaxy out, which opened things up a little bit. Again, for Mad Bulls, I don't think this is going to be a good game for them regardless, just because the amount of teams that have to go down, it's unlikely they're going to start fighting before the blue starts to push the final player from Mad Bulls in, so he's not going to find many points in terms of placements here. Finally, UZM moves out from the position. I8 looking to get further in towards the circle and continue on their warpath, doing really good work this entire game.
Ooh. DRS eliminated as Aegon I8 dropped down. One of their players did get knocked, and Zerich will have spotted that. Do they still think there's a player there? Do they know? Are they aware? Seems like they might not be. They're very much not paying attention in this direction.
He can play now a bit further up, yeah, and actually maybe get into the circle. He could swing out towards the left side, but again, that would sit him in the blue. Influence Kemen taking shots down their way. He's really trying to keep himself out of action. This is serious Metal Gear Solid gameplay at the moment.
Don't want to see that exclamation mark ping up. Would be brutal. Zerich playing sneaky right now. Bandar, last alive for R8, out in the blue zone, will be falling. That's R8 out. S2G close to Buradam. S2G holding on to their spot in third place right now, but LGD are right next door to them. It is crazy how close they are. Sky Only is the last player standing, and 4 rivals chiming into the fight over towards S2G, bring one of them to task for it, but back behind the headland will be safe. time being, LGD in the gas station. Aegon IA moving in and actually influence Kemen's forward position, suffering. Both of them fall and Aegon IA move around the headland. This is great news actually for Zerich as well, who's just playing with the blue at the back and creeping forwards and forwards as time goes on.
I mean, Ghost is really reluctant to go help the rest of his team as well because he knows there's a member in the back line at balls. Up to a 6th place finish as well if he goes out now, which is still fairly decent.
Silas, what are you doing? Just steps right up on the top, completely broadside to the rest of the map entirely, goes for a spray and gets it through the smoke. 2 players from LGD starting to fall. S2G defending this 3rd position brutally. Excellent position. Influence Kemen fall. Now 4 teams remain blank. Zerich might be unable to do enough here.
I mean, he will be getting himself a lot of points and can continue to actually get up. I mean, I can't even get my words out because I'm so surprised by the situation that we're currently in. 11 limbs, though, for I8, looking to set themselves a nice pace towards the end of the day. You know, there's even a really big chance here that Zerich could get a 3rd place if they continue to play this one out. Silas moves towards this side of the map, maybe looking to get the backfill over towards I8, but again, Zerich couldn't be happier with the situation he's currently in.
There is a loot crate out in the water as well. Oh, I was thinking Zerich might be able to just swim out there and play with that as cover for him to be able to breathe. And maybe people wouldn't have figured it out, but does fall down. 4th place for Mad Bulls, though, and that does put a nice, healthy dent into that point lead that will sit between them and the Infinity, who should be on the bubble at this stage. 3 teams remain. S2G, they've taken down their main rivals, LGD. And if they can, every single point they get from here on out will be excellent as breathing room moving into the last 2 games.
4 rivals looking to see them safe in towards that survival stage. This will take them quite far ahead. Nice nade from Appy, though. 9 eliminations for them, looking to send the other one to finish it off. I think I8's played a beautiful game here from the bridge side. Silas now moves up for the backstab. Both players extremely low. Blade could go down a moment's notice here, John.
He's been so bold as Silas in this game. Just going hell for leather, not really having a care in the world, but finally Blade puts an end to proceedings. Ray Z rolls on down, DBS on the back of the buggy and bumps them, knocks them for 6. And S2G team up with 4 rivals to take down the remainder of the players from Aegon IA, and now Hamzy lines up the spray. You're not getting away from this dog of war. Appy, last standing for 4 rivals, making his way over to Pemburu. But S2G mounting up for the final push here. Hamzy rolling along the coastline, but it's not even going to be there. Over the top, and S2G take a 2nd chicken dinner on the day. What a way to claim this 3rd spot. Blank, they are not going to let this one go.